Well, hello, darlings. It's a Friday. It's early in the morning for me, and early in the morning, evening rather, for you. So you know what's going to come next, don't you? It's another podcast! That's right, we are back once again. Alas, I am stricken. We have many more wounded in the podcast, and so I'm alone once more. It's not like the position's cursed or anything, and indeed I welcome other people to join in. Just, don't leave me. Sorry, I overcome a little. But now, moving on. We have with us a new guest to thoroughly interrogate. We've got the old Nine Tails and Baller gag out, especially for the evening. So, may I introduce Darkonyx?
Hey.
And for those that don't know, he is the... which two characters do you play? Let me announce that so we know who you are.
Grax Boneknitter and Talbous Bronzeclaw. They're both Charr.
A kitty sympathizer. We'll try not to hold that against you.
I get called Kitty and Whiskers all the time, so...
It seems to be a popular thing when people talking to Charr. Don't know why. It's like a settled norm. Well, that and every tavern I've visited, everyone goes, "Oh, you can't trust the seraph." It's like, is every cop dirty? All of them.
I don't think it's that. It's a lot of the times I go into the bar and I see a bar fight going on. I'm like, you want the seraph to bust in and ruin the fun? Stop it.
Exactly. Don't piss off the seraph. Just keep them on the sidelines, and if you can find a dirty one, better pay him off. Just, But moving swiftly on, we also have Paula in the background who will be chipping in if she so wishes. Like I say, I'm short-staffed lately, so she's valiantly stepped in for the occasion.
Apparently I have. All right.
Well, I have to make everything sound grand. If I don't, me without the sort of fluent and flamboyant language is a very dull person. It's all about appearances and all the flutteriness. But moving on. Well, first things first, I guess, is recent events. What has everyone been up to? I'm looking at you, Darkonyx, because I know you've been rather busy, because you've been, well, ever since the Spears reformation, so why don't you give us some information about what's been going on with you?
I pretty much, one of my characters, Talbous Bronzeclaw, just got dumped the official title in his lap, and now he's having to rally everybody, get everybody organized, get everybody, communicating with each other and together. And then, of course, also recruiting people, getting them initiated and all nice and snug in their beds.
Everyone in the barracks, darling.
And babysitting.
Looking at you. I can see
that.
I'm
sure there's plenty of females that go around.
I mean,
all is fair in love and war.
And drugs.
Oh, that too.
That's the lesson I taught in the last podcast. Drugs stop wars, ladies and gentlemen. Sure, they start drug cartels, but why focus on the bad? But yeah, what sort of events have been going on with you? Any particular? This could be anything from your favorite spontaneous tavern event to anything. So really, feel free to go nuts with this. Any sort of shenanigans going on with anyone lately?
Let's see here. I had 3 patients with Grax. Cybris, being a racist jerk, I had to go up, patch him up, and I was an idiot, and I forgot to give him something to bite down on when I cauterized his wound. It wasn't pretty.
I've had that problem in the past, but...
And then there was Breogar, poor Breogar. And... Shoot, trying to remember a couple others.
So you've been busy with your healer, which is good to see, from what I've seen, because there was a few call-outs to the local tavern, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Always the taverns, ladies and gentlemen. Always the taverns. They are dangerous places.
It's not that they're dangerous, it's just they're really stupid people running around in the taverns, getting all excited, and probably drunken Norns, They like getting drunk and having bar fights, and then they realize, oh wait, we're not in Hoelbrak anymore.
I'm just saying, this is why Gabriel carries a piece.
Yeah.
Fist fight broke up. Everyone back off! That's right. I will blow this bitch's head off, you hear me? Just grab someone in the crowd. Everyone back off!
I don't think a Norn would probably give a shit, though.
The idea that most of the Norns like 3 times as big is the idea of Gabriel just jumping on his back, putting the pistol and says, "Everyone back off!" Just like legs dangling down. Like tries to shuffle back. Would you move back, please? It would be so kind. Yeah,
Would you kindly?
Just does the thing from Blazing Saddles, puts the pistol in his own jaw. Everyone drop it, or I'll blow this human's head off. And everyone's like, "Oh God, he means it." It's like shuffle off backwards. Worked in Blazing Saddles. It should work in this. I'll blow this cracker's head off, you hear me? With my fluorescent pink outfits on, you know. No one wants to see the dandy die, they're too lovable.
Yeah. Might be a little embarrassing to get whacked by a guy in pink armor.
That's all part of the message, though. I mean, for the most part, from what I've seen in the Tavern RPs, that's where most of the sort of big sort of things go down, and unfortunately, it's not always good. Unfortunately, but you know, it's an MMO. There's always the good, and there's always the bad. You're not going to have a smooth ride all the way through.
No, you can't. And plus, you can't really control players' actions because, well, they're unpredictable. And when there is a large group of them, it's more likely something really terrible is about to happen. Or going to eventually.
True. It's interesting when some people play the bar staff, though, and things like that. It gets fun. Mostly it's topless Charr. I don't know why. One of the flagon sort of taverns in the Balthazar district, I think it is. There's actually an RP group based purely around the bar crew.
Yeah. I remember this one meat chop, busted flagon.
Oh, that's him. He growled at me for taking a few bottles.
You can't talk at all.
You can't? I did wonder.
He's mute. He's mute.
Because I must say, like, such a jerk to him, because by contrast, all I did was... It's like I took the bottles, he growled at me, I threw some money at him, because Gabriel's drunk, he doesn't know how much he's spending, it's like, have a tab. And he left us alone. It's like, yeah, nice and simple, no fights broke out or anything. Meanwhile, on the other side of the bar, Norn and Charr broke into a fight.
Lovely.
It just says it all. So I think, well, myself, I've been walking around seeing a few things. Spontaneous RP in the streets is quite good, but what I gotta say is possibly one of my favourite things is that literally in this game, actions speak louder than words. Area of effect, I mean. For example, someone talks, you hear it within a certain radius, but actions have like a 10-mile radius for some reason. So it's weird, because you're walking along, and all of a sudden this detailed little description comes up, and you're like, what, where, what's going on?
Yeah, they need to change the emote range a little bit. Oops.
It's quite funny when people are like, frankly, ERP is like doing something. I'm surprised, as most people keep it in whisper and whatever, because there's like certain etiquette to it, I suppose. But it's just the fact that when I'm walking past the building, all I hear is like this really detailed erotica suddenly appearing on my screen. I'm like, what? Just looking around me in this empty street, like. It's like,
that's what home instances are for.
It's like, are they? My main thought at that point was like, do I yell, "Oh damn," like I can hear them in the window. Suddenly lean in, "Yeah, you get a room. We're in a room. Then lose some weight." Just completely troll and just walk off. Because I leave myself in little RP locations from RP stuff. Like if I met someone, he usually disappear into a building or whatever, just the RP illusion he owns the building or whatever. Then I log back in, and there's like a pile of 3 people on top of each other next time I line in. I'm just stood there like, awkward. just literally, they must be in the middle of an ERP or something, because they're all piled on this bed, naked and whatever. And, as close as I can get to naked in Guild Wars. And literally out of nowhere, a pink dandy appears. Just at the foot of the bed, just like... But,
kind of like an 800-pound gorilla in the room?
Yeah, it's like, the pink dandy is watching you. That might have to be a meme now. Pink dandy is watching you masturbate. Just in the corner. That's it, Gabriel's the new Slender Man. Gabriel's the new Slender Man. It's the background of pictures of this pink guy, like... Well, I don't know why I'm pulling faces during a recording. It's not visual. But I guess you can guess what the appearance will be. Just full-on stare, and then slowly backs up and walks out. complete composure, doesn't say a word.
Alright. Yeah. It's just...
It's a lovely image though, because it's just so funny. Because I log in, it's like, up, I'm gonna go and play my game. Up, naked people.
And then,
Slowly.
bonk, what the heck is this?
Oh, it's worse when people have actually like gone into little buildings to RP a serious thing. Like there was one with like a servant and a full-on dinner party going on, and I suddenly like spawned on the table. It's like, you mean what do I do?
That's bad.
It's like if anyone throws a 20, do I start dancing? You know, what do I do? What do I do?
What do I do? What do I do? I don't know.
Just stood there like, you know, oh god, I'm not your entertainment. Someone throws a gold. Oh hell yes, that's taking off my clothes.
Usually at that point, if I'm in that situation, I just throw up the out-of-character tags and just sprint away.
I need an adult. I need an adult. Just running off screen.
I need an adult. I need hugs. Somebody love me.
It just says everything, doesn't it? But before we get like too far away from the main plotline of this podcast, plotline, yes, it's an epic ballad, everyone. I've changed it. It's now a story of loss and love and slight moments of homosexual tension, like any good story. But moving on. The main reason we have our guest here today. Now we move on to the dreaded section known as question and answer. First things first, as we already know, we know who your characters are. And our first question is, what do they do in the guild?
Okay. Talbous is... originally, he was just a freelancing grunt for the blade, which is now the spear. And, well, now he's an official now and the commander of the garrison at Hoelbrak. And now he's having to muster troops together and babysit people.
Always welcome at the chateau,
He's pretty
by the
much
way.
like Conan right now, sitting on the throne, bored out of his eyeballs.
I command all these troops, and I valiant army. I command the vast armies. I organize vast legions, and I am bored. This image in my head right now. Just there with elastic ball and a paddle.
That's how it
They bring you the latest
And
and
then
Soren toys, just there with a paddle.
And then there's Grax Boneknitter. He's my physician. The reclusive physician that's also a necromancer. Don't worry, he's not evil. He just usually doesn't openly discuss what he does for a living.
Well, it's a good point there, because I, for one, I'm really pleased that there's so many necromancer characters out there that don't overplay the sort of, I'm trying to avoid death, I'm a vampire, sort of thing. You know, people are actually, because the law allows this, necromancy is a form of magic. Yes, it's frowned upon in certain circles, but it's not illegal. It's not considered completely immoral. I mean, unless you're raising Pacific undead, it's mostly just flesh and bone you've stuck together. I mean, hell, you could go to the butcher's, order a good steak, and turn it into a minion, you know?
That's what usually Grax does, though. Oops.
Yeah. Got any sheep bones going out there? Here we go. I'm gonna go to steak. You know, how much for that whole pig? What? Yeah, sure. Here we go. Just go outside, put it into a big sort of meat feast golem.
Funny thing is, like, Grax is 3 years younger than Talbous. Talbous is 30. Grax is 27. But funny thing is, like, he has Grax has a lot more experience than Talbous does, despite his young age. And that's the funny part about both. Alright, moving on.
That's a shame, really. But this is the point about having two alts. The fact is, I'd actually like to see how those two would mingle, but of course, never will, because you're playing both.
They technically do, but I consider that off-panel. Usually, there was this one time I was part of when doing my stuff with the Broken Sigils, I just decided to do something funny. Talbous got a bunch of shrapnel up his rear, and guess who had to pull it out?
Generic cactus moments comes to mind. You know, one guy bent over, the one with a pair of tweezers.
Yeah, and Talbous was crying the entire time when he pulled it out, and he kind of chloroformed him to shut him up.
Oh, there's so many dirty comments I could have made in that area. man bent over, weeping his eye out with a man behind him with chloroform. I'm just saying. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen, life's more fun when you're dirty-minded. It makes even the little minuscule things that much more fun. Even at the purest fair shop, the word ram suddenly takes on a whole new meaning.
Pretty much.
See, he knows the dream. We're all talking dreamy-eyed at the moment for some reason. We've all got big anime eyes right now.
Usually my mind is so warped. This stuff just clicks immediately. And most people in other groups would kind of just look at me and go, "Why are you thinking this?" "'Cause I'm completely random, I'm sorry."
And yet here it is catered to and loved, as we've all spent some time in the Ashenfold chat lobby. And how things can change from a simple, "What are you doing this evening?" jumping puzzle, and then digress to Norns in a homosexual relationship with an Asuran. Things divulge. I mean, vivid sort of statements are made. I mean, I won't go into too much detail, but let's put it this way. The idea that a Norn could use an Asuran as a condom did come up. And so, but moving briskly on for our viewers, because clearly this is recorded again. No, our listeners. Yes, that's it. Yes, I get there in the end, Alex. I get there in the end. Sips the last of my rum in background. But yes, moving on from my alcoholism. Now, we're going to try and split this into two things here. First off, we'd like to know a bit more about your RP history in character. And then after that, move into your out-of-character background and history. That kind of thing.
Okay. Most of my RP is for Guild Wars 2 right now is spanned in characterly over a month. And over a month, I've somehow managed to bump into just about every single crazy person you'd ever meet, with Talbous at first. And then shortly I started introducing Grax, and Grax doesn't get any crazy people, he just gets patience.
Angry, ungrateful patience.
That's just one. The other two, grateful, fine, happy. And usually he really doesn't care, he really likes his job to the point where it's like, it don't matter. As long as you're, not trying to hurt me in the process while I'm helping you.
But then you forget to give them the bit to bite down on, and things get a little awkward, I understand.
Yeah, whoops. But it was kind of a spur of the moment. It was like, to me, thinking like Grax, is like, I got just cauterize that right now, or he'll bleed to death.
Oh, it just must have been fun. A shame I missed that, because alas, time zones, the bane of many of the up here.
The Brailgar, he had to use some of his actual necromancy magic to heal him because he had so much wooden shrapnel in him from falling through all these scaffoldings and everything. And he couldn't. You know what? When you're working with bandages and just regular stuff like that, you can only take out so much of that shrapnel and hope for the best. And he's like, okay, gives him something to bite down on. He bites down on it, and he just goes to work, pulls out as many of those plugs as he can. Then he threw down a blood well right on him, and that worked pretty well. And then
take some life force.
The Raven Shaman had to show up, and well, sadly, he tried to call the Raven Shaman to heal him, the Raven Spirit to heal him, but realized, oh wait, he's of Bear. I need to call upon Bear, even though I'm a Raven Shaman, and that was a doozy for him.
Awkward snarl. Hey, Bear. Yeah, who is this? Who is this? It's Raven. I'm asking for a favour here. I don't know. What sort of awkwardness goes on there between gods? What's happening?
Pretty much.
Like, hey, I know I didn't follow you or anything, but you mind just, chucking a heel my way? Or just like edging on, just looking down, shuffling feet.
Yeah. My out-of-character history goes... A lot of the stuff I've done was heroic RP for Champions Online for a year. Technically 2 years now. And that was more or less a living hell for me. familiar with Animaniacs. You know Buttons and Mindy and Buttons? It's Buttons.
What? What happened?
Basically, think of it this way. Every single character I got attached to, got involved with, I really did not think this through. I thought, oh, this would be great for roleplay if my character started getting attached to people. And, well, they kind of turned out to be, pardon me for saying this, dumbasses in distress. So, every single time, I kind of had to just show up, stop them from harming themselves or others or something from harming them, and then they get all mad when they bring out a villain, want to blow him away. When my character clearly stated, if you show your face again, I'll kill you.
It's like, no more of this. Just no more drama. Well, it's a pitfall for many RPs, MMOs. There's always someone, at the risk of sounding like a bit pretentious.
Yes, there is always someone who wants drama, for the sake of drama. And then eventually it just became this spurling spout of chaos, and I could not take it anymore. And I kept on looking for other games. And then I found this one. I got into 2RP. They kind of pulled me in, and then when I finally pre-purchased the game, got into the beta weekend, got part of the no left behind, no role player left behind. Sin kind of just welcomed me in and
emerged from the shadows and just dragged you in.
Pretty much. She offered me free candy. Come here, free candy. Ah!
It's on the back of the truck. Come in.
Nah, it wasn't entirely like that, but...
What, no biting pillows?
Sometimes I kind of realize that my characters are just kind of the counterweight to everyone else and kind of appeal to the better angels of everyone else. I don't know how that happens, but okay.
To each their own style. To each their own style at the end of the day, and it just works, you know. It's always nice to have, like... If you have everyone who's extremes, things get a bit too crazy. But if there's someone there to level things out or mixing traits, it's always good.
Yeah, that's why I usually go with, like, if it's D&D with this game, it's just chaotic neutral, or just if I'm doing good, it's neutral good, chaotic good. I'm not like the right hand of the law or the freaking bastion of evil. No, I can't do those.
Extremes, yeah.
I can be motivated, like my characters can be motivated by revenge or something like that, but they don't really have interests in politics, wealth, power, and fame as much as they're kind of looking for something they're missing, like that as a culture themselves, as Charr, that they feel they're missing, and they're trying to fill that gap. And it seems the Cartel's kind of becoming a part of them now.
Huzzah! One of us.
Yeah.
Once you're in, there's no way out.
Yeah. Alright, so in character, and then out of character, and then what's next?
Yes. Well, we can move on to the next segment, which is any particular favourite RP moment yet? I mean, considering like how many, we've been here for quite a while now, and you were here before I was, if I remember correctly, way before. I only joined like the month towards the game starting.
My favorite RP is usually with Grax. I really, really, really love, as much as I like Talbous, I really, really love role-playing Grax because it just helps me unwind a lot. Because Talbous is this very straight, serious soldier. Grax is kind of he's been there, seen everything. And you know what? Technically, they're very similar to each other. It's just Grax has a bit more, for a Charr, compassion about his job, and usually he does. He tries not to get attached to patients, but he tries to see the patient instead of the disease or sickness, and treats the patient the disease.
Yeah, the closest thing you're going to get to Hippocratic
Patch.
Oath in this law sort of thing.
Yeah.
Is there even an equivalent in this, or is it mostly concerned with gods?
I think it's mostly concerned with gods, but Charr are atheists.
Godless.
So
it kind of makes me laugh at how you could be an atheist before anyone gets so on me on this, I meant in game, considering the fact that prayers are literally answered because of all the powers. It just makes me laugh. It's like, the gods don't exist. I just summoned a Hound of Balthazar right in front of you. No. Just magic. Magic and fairies. See what I mean?
yeah.
I probably got his name wrong, Balthazar. I'm probably going to get so much flack for that.
Balthazar.
But you know what I mean? Like the blessings of Lysa, and then all the different things.
Lysa.
It makes me funny.
Lysa, Grant.
There we go, thank you.
Yeah, let's...
It's like, the gods don't exist. I just transformed into a Reaper of Grant. I'm dubious. Don't just stood in front of him.
Basically
Whoa.
what you are with your elite skill as a necromancer. You're pretty much an avatar of Grant. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see someone deny it, though, in battle. It's like, I'm an avatar of Grant. Oh, whoa. Faith and state are separate. You take that right off the battlefield. Everyone's just looking at him. Oh, come on, man. Whoa. Bring your faith into this. What the hell, man? Everyone's looking at them as they walk off, frowning, head down, in full Grant forms.
Yeah.
Keep it to yourself.
And that's
man.
another thing I like about Grax, is the fact that I'm going to have to just study a lot more about Guild Wars lore. Because he's a lore nut. Even though he's a physician, he loves studying, loves learning about cultures and that sort of thing.
Grax is actually part of the tome, isn't he?
Yes, he is part of the tome, and even though he's part of the tome, he kind of keeps his distance from his tome brothers and sisters, Some of them, he just does... He doesn't exactly have any trust for them yet, and usually, like Talbous, unless they do something for him, or help him out with something, or show merit in general, I'll eventually start trusting them, but that's something with my characters. Trust is earned. It is not easily given, but respect is easily given.
Makes sense.
Not trust.
Yeah, he keeps it simple. I mean, that's somewhat heavily implied, I feel. This is just from my side. He seems like a very sort of, how do I put this? Not simple-minded, but practical. The man just sees things for what they are. That's what I'm getting from this Charr.
Yeah, both Charr, they see things for what they are, and they accept it. And usually...
Nothing to see here. Move along.
Yeah. The key thing about Grax is there is a bit more cynicism. He sees Tyria for its ugliness and just accepts it and moves along. Talbous, on the other hand, wants to change it, but he realizes that you need to do it slowly and progressively. You don't force it, because if you force it, it just causes more trouble, more complication. And that's what a lot of the times when Barrow was around, she kept on coming to Talbous because she saw Talbous as her friend, and he just looked at her and said, "I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about that."
Just frank honesty about it.
Yeah, that's one of the things I offer with my characters. They're honest, and if you gain their trust, they're very trustworthy. They will be honest and truthful as they can be. But if secrets need to be kept, keep them.
It's weird. I've similarly gone down that route myself in my own character. I mean, I won't go too much into this, but the fact is, despite his many sort of eccentricities, the foppish dandy drug addict at the end of the day, the fact is, I've gone for a character that not overcomplicates things. So there's no smile, there's no dagger as sharp as his smile sort of thing behind his back sort of thing. It's more a case of, I'll just be honest to you about it. And I always find that quite fun when people find out your character's ridiculously honest. It's more a case of they just want to keep things simple. No, there's no intrigue really with Gabriel. It's more a case of if he's going to kill someone, he'll tell them. It's like you have this, you've warranted this. Bye. You shouldn't have done that. It's just more straightforward and simple. I know it's a very extreme example, but it's just more a case of frank honesty, which I'm sensing a lot from your character, which is just quite refreshing, really. Because intrigue is fun and all, but sometimes you really need a break.
That's the key thing with both of my characters. They have frank honesty, but they aren't like... Both of them are not like Eddard Stark. They aren't like, I have my word and my honor, and That's what killed Eddard.
Yep, right up to the start. He was a dead man the moment he accepted. Good example, actually. I gotta admit that. I can understand the popularity of Game of Thrones because of that, because the actual characters are very much of the era. Because at the end of the day, it is really just a replica of medieval times. All this intrigue and honor and stuff, and it's like it's great to see the medium in the middle of it all. God, you just need to take one look at my character and Tyrion Lannister, and you've got my character's concept laid down. And I didn't mean to. I'd actually not heard of it or even seen the program until it was into its second season. And of course, I fell in love with the character instantly because it was well written and came across well.
Usually with me, Grax is a bit of Tyrion Lannister, and okay, this is completely different. If you ever heard of Avatar: The Last Airbender, I kind of really borrowed off of Uncle Iroh for him, even though he's younger. He just he's very worldly, and I really liked that worldliness about him.
Yeah, not world. But would you say world weariness, or more in the area of just I've seen the world for what it is? I'm not going to overcomplicate things.
Yes. And with that comes the hedonistic lifestyle.
Right.
Yes.
I definitely use that as an escapism for my character. It's like, look at the world, how dark and dingy it is. Nobles want to stand me back over every corner. Okay, I'm going to do that massive pile of cocaine over there. See you all in a month. It's like, the world's so dark and dingy. Sniffs from his stuff box. It's all colourful and rainbows.
Yeah.
It's a form of escapism, you could say.
That's the key thing about both of those characters is they're very similar, but I feel there's enough like small little differences between the both of them. You can tell them apart. Of course, in general, one looks like a tiger. The other's just kind of the brown, kind of lynx-like looking Charr with leopard spots.
A little break off in the main question here. I've got to say a big whoop for the actual character customization. It's easy to accidentally make someone who looks very similar to someone, but there's lots of customization, and the fact that the Charr have so many different fur options was like, thank you. Rather than just releasing them. For example, I'm gonna be so stereotypical here, but wow, with the Worgen, it was like there was only so many variations you could go. But with the Charr, it's like, oh my god, there's so many different ones. There's snow leopards, albinos, there's normal grey ones, normal brown ones, different patterns, stripes and spots. It was just full on a bit of everything.
Yeah. Usually there will be Charr that look similar, but usually you can tell them apart by their faces, or even sometimes they might customize their fangs and horn size, that sort of thing. You can tell
brows,
apart by
jawline. Also, and them dem 4 ears.
There's a bit of an eye squint with Grax, and he can't see I decided for just the RP, his left eye. There's no pupil in his left eye. That's a birth defect. He can't see out of that.
Like little things like that, just the little tiny quirks that you need to describe. This is actually why I loved one of the mods for World of Warcraft. It was literally an in-game character profile box where you could write everything in, so you could get those little intricacies about little squints in the eyes and stuff. The little things, because you can only go so far with customization in some games. I'm gonna admit, I miss Aeon. Now that was a damn fine customizable game, grindy as hell, but still, people were damn pretty. It was one of those MMOs where there's no ugly people. They died out years ago. But
there's plenty of ugly people in Ion. There's some people who really just mess with the editor to where they're so incredibly short and their faces duck face.
Duck face. That overtook Facebook 8 years ago. I mean, what got me as well was the number of times, and it happened to Guild Wars 2 as well, was the number of people that would make the biggest character they could, make him black, and then just give him a massive afro, and they'd see how long it would take them to get banned, and just wandering around making the biggest slurs they can. I mean, who was it? I think there was like someone like wandering around like just literally yelling "wet old white women" at. Literally yelling that, and it was like, "Hey, I'm gonna come down in 3, 2, 1." You can just see Annette just like aiming a gun, like, wait for it.
You're seeing the Hammer of Dawn just aligning up its satellites right on top of them, and you see the beautiful laser light show just coming down on top of him, and then he's vaporized. Never
just hanging from a tree. Hanging from a tree with a sign, "Let this be a lesson." Like, damn. It's like, wandering around, tolerate people, just glaring at everyone. But yes, veering back to the main question, we went off on one there, which is fun. That's the whole point of this podcast. It should be fun, should be lively.
Yeah,
so,
it
would
is.
you call yourself a light, medium, or heavy role player, darling?
I'm what you would call a hybrid. I am all three whenever I need to be. If there needs to be heavy, I can do heavy. If there needs to be medium, I can do medium. Light, I love light, but usually I don't really dabble in light as much unless if I'm needing to wind down.
Yeah, little comment now there. I mean, for example, the Ashenfold offers the overcoms roleplay via the amulets, which is good for a little light RP. I mean, you could be doing anything. You could literally just be wandering around in World v World, and I've had entire roleplay conversations over it. Meanwhile, I'm getting my ass kicked by some 20-foot Norn who's like fully spec'd in armor.
Yeah, last night there was there was a lot of debauchery going on over the NIM.
Why wasn't
Talbous and Grax, they needed to initiate a new bonded, which is now chained, and she got her and Sin is just laughing and everything, and everybody's bidding on her right over the NIM.
Oh dear God, we've got to get some people in first. This is what happened. Okay, I got 250. It's like an auction. 250. I got 250. 350. 350.
And apparently they broke the record on bids. One of them did. 1 gold and 50 silver. And then I think she went up from that to 2 gold or something.
Whoa.
And nobody could outbid her.
Oh God, I've just got to say this right now, ladies and gentlemen. How many people have actually seen a gold? I'm terrible. I mean, that's in-game currency.
The funny part was the slave was wearing the Nim the whole time, but couldn't talk because her tongue had just been cut out.
Oh,
so she was sitting there listening to people bid on her, but couldn't comment because she was missing her tongue.
And saying "ow" a bit, I'd assume.
Yeah,
tongue's not easy to remove, as far as I understand it.
Yeah, but that.
Drax, were you any part of that?
No. This is kind of why I have very good relationships with Scab, because I don't do this shit.
That is a comment. This is why I have good relations. I don't do this shit. That is a quote of the year, ladies and gentlemen.
It's just, like, Talbous did one thing, that was part of the blood hunt, beat the crap out of another Charr, because she was ordered to, and for the most part, both their hands are pretty clean from that. Except Talbous, and that's the only thing. That's it. Everything else is pretty laid bare. Sure, they have their own regrets and everything, but it's not like they have dirty little secrets under their pillow or something like that. If somebody went digging, they're not going to find much of anything. Which will probably
we went digging
people.
For information, sir. What did you find? Well, I hit stone when I put the shovel in, practically. What's that? Nothing. Just nothing. What did you learn? Guy keeps a very vigorous sleep cycle.
What did I learn from that little blood hunt? I learned about Talbous's just limitations as a character. He does not like beating up what was pretty much a Charr protecting his friend. That's what he was doing. He was sticking up for his friend, and all they really needed was the Nim from the rat. And all they could have done after that was just probably chloroformed the three of them, and then walked on and denied the rest of the stuff. There's a level of deniability with the Cartel, and he kept on talking about that, and people kept on forgetting about that. There is a level of deniability with the Cartel. Sure, okay, people blab about it. So what? We have the Cartel, to my understanding, has a good enough public face to where stuff like that shouldn't really dent them.
Yeah, it's like, prove it. You know,
Unless
it's like, oh god,
there's,
he's the leader
like,
of all this. It's like, well, do you have any proof to that? I mean, you're just rambling on like a madman.
Exactly. The only proof that they would have is witnesses, which can easily be dismissed.
Bribe,
and
killed,
the Nim.
or whatever.
The Nim is the only thing that they could use.
And that's more a case of, okay, retrieve. And we have, like you said, we got the spear for that kind of thing. And hell, I mean, you could even hire the crown to have it stolen. I mean, you know, there's lots of avenues of the way this can go.
Exactly. And a lot of, in that blood hunt, there was a bit of zealousy going on when there shouldn't have been.
You know, keep everything nice, and you know, it's more a case of like, just keep things calm and hinder it. It's like, you know, hand it over. Like, no, I'm going to expose you. It's like, well, expose what? You're going to tell the world there is a vast secret organization that has its tendrils and everything. How many people would
that
just go?
That is completely benign, unless if some crazy nut job gets a hold of the Cartel. It's completely benign. Really?
Yeah, I mean, for example, I'm using my own character example again. Would anyone believe that this drugged up wastrel Verdandi has anything to do with a secret organization that goes all the way to the top near enough? You know, social societies. We've got, you know, who would believe this man commands a court of thugs, drug dealers, secret agents, you know, assassins? Who would believe it for a second that this flamboyant, currently pink dandy controls any of that? It's all plausible deniability within the system, and it's perfectly wonderful for RP.
And people keep on forgetting about it.
Let's deny it, deny everything, people. Meet the Seraph, help them. You know, I'm just an average everyday citizen. I mean, I've been cornered by someone else playing a Seraph, and it's like, oh, I own a tavern. You know, I'm a businessman, I occasionally visit taverns. And everyone just dismisses it. Because it's like, you know, you're just a wastrel. It's like, okay, tra-la-la-la-la, just walks off. Or there's a bottle of wine on the way out.
Usually, a lot of the times, more or less, they're law-abiding, like Charr, are more or less law-abiding citizens. They're only getting their hands dirty if it's necessary to.
Exactly.
And even then, they don't go whacking. They don't go whacking men. They don't go whacking children, women, and children. They don't do that. It's just not them.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you'd probably find it hard to believe. In my character has a code of honor he abides to. It's like it's a very sort of triad code of honor, actually, when it comes down to it. It's like, you know, we don't involve the families unless we really need to. If you're going to kill a man, you look him in the eye, sort of thing. It's like, you know, you don't just hide in the shadows. For him, it's a case of, we are going to kill you for what you did. Or whatever. I mean, again, extremely easy, and I don't want to sound like one of those big jerk-offs saying, like, oh god, I'm so powerful, because, you know, that's what I hate to see in RP. Yeah. This is more of an example, because, you know, with the triads or whatever, if you read into the lore, the real-life lore of them, there's a very strict code people keep to, and you don't mess it up, because it's just the way things are done.
Yeah. And usually, again, my characters are very much like, no killing cops. I'm sorry, no killing cops. No. I don't kill cops. No.
It's a good point. I mean, because of so much we've discussed, we probably can skip a good section of the stuff I was going to ask you, actually, because we've covered it very wonderfully there. And so one big thing is, have you taken your character outside of Ashenfold? Any other groups you managed to bump into out there? Because as we've seen, there's lots of colourful groups out there.
Broken Sigils is about it. I originally had them wanting to run through with the Shade Warband and the Razor Warband, but being part of the Ashenfold Cartel, you can't really interact with them much without them getting curious. And wanting
to... meetings, like, what are you guys doing here? Nothing, just, you know, chilling, talking into my amulet.
Yeah. What's really funny is just, one of my characters, like, after beating the crap out of that Charr, my character wants to fight. He probably can't he probably can't do this, but oh gosh, he wants to. Find that Charr he kicked the snot out of and apologize.
Awkward. Oh god, he's come back for more. No, I'm sorry. I need to heal your wounds.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Like, oh. He's like, you're not... No.
Yeah. All's fair in love and war.
It's
like orders are orders, but real life's real life sort of thing.
Yeah. Orders are orders, but I was just following orders. And probably one of the biggest things he'd probably ask me is, so I'm to expect what you did was an act of mercy? He would say yes.
And also, I assume you're that kind of character. So, I mean, the way you say it, you'd probably see honor in the fact that man tried to defend his friend again. There's honor in that. I mean, even Gabriel would appreciate that. It's like, yeah, you've defended him to a man. It's just unfortunate you're on the wrong side here.
Yeah. And
again, it's weird to find characters like us that you don't expect this level of honor per se. I mean, honor is such a broad term. You know what I mean? This sort of code of understanding, which is good to see in some characters. I mean, again, you want to avoid the sort of chaotic neutral. It's like, oh, I may help you, or I might steal your car. I mean, few people could actually pull it off, so don't get me wrong. But sometimes it's good to have restrictions of law just to make everything nice and smooth.
Yeah. Usually with Talbous, though, for the Game of Thrones, the two characters he could relate to are like Bronn and the Hound.
Yeah.
Bronn and the Hound.
Now, he's an interesting character. Again, a character bound by service, but no morals, but in the same place, like... if I remember the book rightly, he refuses to march to his death outright, even though everyone says like he's the loyalist of the Hounds. It's like, yeah, but even a dog won't charge into a fire, sort of thing.
Exactly, and probably one of the key things, like, he's one of those characters, like, when Joffrey hit the I can't remember her name.
Sansa.
Sansa. He hit Sansa. He walked up to her, cleaned off the blood off her face. Like, you'd best keep this because this might happen often. And try listening to him. It'll save you a lot of pain.
Yeah, again, this is a good thing, because as Cinder's pointed out, the Hound has honor. It's just a different type to the usual sort of, I am a knight on a white horse, I am here to save everyone. It's like practical honor in its own way. He's just a human being in the middle of it all, which is, again, you've demonstrated this, and even I to a smaller extent, because again, I can't really say much for honor when my character's a big drug-taking, angry guy at the end of the day. But it's great to see.
Probably another key thing I find a lot of Charr, they kind of fall into this hole and they don't realize that Charr, they do have feelings too. They just feel them a little bit. They feel them differently than a human or a Norn or a Servalri or an Asura would.
It's about their upbringing. It's the culture they're in. Yeah, they're a big war thing, but at the end of the day, there's still drama and emotions, love, loss. It's all there. Just different culture. It's a very militarized culture. Well, obviously, because they live in the Iron Death Star.
And more disciplined. It's more disciplined. And everything, and almost everything he does with his magic, Grax, has a lot of discipline with it.
Yeah, again,
and that's
good point
why
for
I think a
everyone
lot
out there. Again, if your necromancy is not bad, it's not inherently evil. It's like, it is a form of healing. You literally, who better to understand how to prevent death by someone that's literally studied it itself?
Yeah, Grax uses it as a form of healing, and in some cases, yes, as a form of offense. But usually, he's more defensive than offensive. His necromancy abilities.
At the end of the day, medicine in itself can be used defensively or offensively. The whole reason why there's a Hippocratic oath in effect in the real world, because as a doctor, you are capable of wreaking horrific damage with your knowledge at the end of the day. And again, in the law,
what Grax is terrified. That's just also why Grax is terrified of what he's capable of.
Yeah, it's like, you could do some real damage. He just simply chooses not to. Because again, what would that achieve to his mind? I assume is the thing. It's like, what would I achieve by doing that?
Exactly. And probably one of the key things is, usually I try to avoid him, even though he's cynical and everything. He's not like House. You don't want to have a doctor like House on top of you.
Wow, living image is there. Please bear in mind my dirty